In Chapter 8, you'll be doing many conversions. And so just to be clear, I want you to see which conversions you'll be given on the test. And then, of course, the rest of them you'll need to learn, but I'll point those out as well. So you will be given in Chapter 8 formula for converting in temperature Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. We can use the same formula for both. You're going to see some more of those examples in section 8.3. Also, you'll be given that length. For length, 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And then you'll be given, it'll look just like this. 1 fluid ounce is equal to 2 tablespoons, which is 6 teaspoons, which is 30 milliliters. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, which is equal to 4 cups, which is 32 fluid ounces, or 0.95 liters. Those of you who do a lot of cooking, that's probably more familiar to you. And then 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, which is also equal to 4 pints. And some of these are going to come up in 8.4, I believe. So we'll come back in 8.4 and look back at this chart as well. You'll also be given that weight or mass. 2.2 pounds is equal to 1 kilogram. Or if I want to know what 1 pound is, it's approximately 0.45 kilograms, so about half of a kilogram. Okay, so those will be given to you. And then these are some other things that would be helpful for you. These won't be printed out for you, but these are going to be helpful for you to know. A meter is a little bit longer than a yard. A mile is about 1.6 kilometers. And the way that you'll be tested on these will be similar to the homework, where maybe you're asked what is the better unit to use in measuring distance, or to measure an envelope, or to measure a coin. So you need just a general idea of measurement, good number sense. A centimeter is less than an inch. A millimeter is the thickness of a dime. A liter is approximately a quart. And then for temperature, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is the same as 0 degrees Celsius, freezing point of water. And then 212 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 100 degrees Celsius, boiling point of water. Okay. And then the following need to be memorized. And if you've done your homework, this will you'll be memorizing it as you go. These units, I'm sure you came into the course knowing, but in the U.S. customary system, you'll need to know that 12 inches is 1 foot, that 3 feet equals 1 yard, and that 36 inches equals 1 yard. And then the other thing that you would need to know, and we've done this in several of the examples in this section and the one before, is metric single unit conversions. So we would be looking at these different prefixes: kilo, hecto, deca, the base unit, deci, centi, milli. And a nice way to remember that, or what might help you memorize it: King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Remembering that the base unit goes here, which could be either meters, grams, or liters. And then as we convert from one to the other, you move on the scale to the right. You're going to move the decimal to the right. And as you move to the right, you're multiplying by 10 for each position. And if we move from one unit to another and we're moving left, we would move the decimal place to the left. And that would mean that we're dividing by 10 for each position moved. And then another thing, and you'll see this in your homework for several problems, the numbers up here, as we move a place, remember that the metric system is base 10. So every time I move a place, I'm moving a decimal place, I'm multiplying by another unit of 10. So a kilo, which if it was in kilometers or kilograms or kiloliters, would be 1,000 of whatever the base is. Hecto is 100 of whatever the base is. Deca is 10 of whatever the base is. And then also, when you're converting units within other systems, we're going to look at ones that would be single, squared, and cubed. We would want to, and we'll do some examples here in a minute, we're going to multiply by 1, which is considered a unit fraction, units that you want over units that you want to get rid of. Okay, so let that be a nice study sheet for you of what you need to know from Chapter 8 and what you'll be given. Now, the handout that you should have printed, we're going to go quickly through some of these. I would use, because in these 8.1 examples, we're just using single units. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So if I'm going to convert from kilometers to meters, I'm going to start with kilometers. I would move 1, 2, 3 places to the right, which would make this 1,000, because the decimal place in all of these is there. 1 meter to a kilometer, I would start with meters, which is the base. These, remember, could be meters, they could be grams, they could be liters. So if I begin with meters and go to kilometers, I want to move my decimal place 3 places to the left. So 3 places to the left would give me 0.001 kilometers. One centimeter is equal to how many millimeters? I'd start with centimeters. To millimeters is 1 place to the right, so I'd move the decimal place 1 place to the right, which gives me 10. 1 millimeter to centimeters, I'd want to move the decimal place 1 place to the left, which would give me 0.1. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. 420 centimeters, beginning with centimeters and going to the base of meters, I'd move to the left 2 places, the decimal, which would give me 4.20. 0.006 meters, I'd want to move to the, going from meters to centimeters, I want to move to the right 2. So if I move the decimal to the right 2, I'd have 0.6 centimeters. 52 kilograms, to get to the base unit grams, move to the right 3. So if I start with 52, 1, 2, 3, I'd have 52,000. And then 61 liters to milliliters, I'd move to the right 3 places, which is going to give me 61,000 milliliters. Okay, those are pretty straightforward. Now, what I want to do when I'm converting square units, and then also the same with cubic units, is that I first want to do just the linear conversion. Let's find out 1 meter is equal to how many millimeters. So the first step would be that we want to know 1 meter is equal to how many millimeters. We would move the decimal place to the right 3, which would give me 1,000 millimeters. Now we're going to square both sides, which would mean that we would have found that 1 square meter is equal to, and when I square this, 1,000 times 1,000, I'm going to end up with 6 zeros, which gives me 1,000,000 square millimeters. So now we want to convert 4 square meters to square millimeters. So what we want to do is we're going to use that unit fraction or unit factor. And we're going to start out with what we have, 4 meters squared. We're going to multiply by the unit factor. We want to get rid of the square meters, and we want to end up with square millimeters. So we just found that 1,000,000 square millimeters is equal to 1 square meter. So this has a value of 1. And as I multiply, the square meters will cancel out. As I multiply a fraction, this is like a 1, we already have 1 in the denominator here. Multiply across the numerator, we'll end up with 4,000,000 square millimeters. I can barely fit that in there, so I'm going to keep it right here. Okay. Now, let's do the same for square yards to square feet. I know that in just the linear conversion, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Remember, that's one you'd need to memorize. So when I square both sides, I'd get 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. So then what we have are 2 square yards. I'm going to multiply that by the conversion factor of what we want to get rid of is on the bottom, what we want to keep is on the top. So we'd have 1 square yard is equal to 9 square feet. Now we multiply. The square yards will cancel out. Multiply across the top, and we do have a understood 1 here. So I'd end up with 18 square feet over 1. So 2 square yards is equal to 18 square feet. We're looking at cubic feet and cubic yards. So we said before that we know 1 yard equals 3 feet. But this time I want to cube both sides, which would give me 1 cubic yard is equal to, now 3 to the 3rd power is 3 times 3 times 3, or 27 cubic feet. So if I start out with 54 feet cubed, I want to multiply that by, we want the cubic feet on the bottom, so 27 cubic feet, so that the feet will cancel out, and we're wanting to convert to yards, so that's going to be in my numerator. And now when I multiply, the cubic feet will cancel out, so I'm left with 54 cubic yards over 27, and these feet had canceled out, so that would be equal to 2 cubic yards.